friends and beautiful people, beautiful souls. Hi there. It is Kathryn and I'm, conscious creatrix, 5D visionary, elevated consciousness coach. And I have a question for you. Can you change your past? A lot of you are going to have a gut reaction on that right off the bat and say, no, okay? But what if we were to pose this question a different way, okay? And let me help you kind of give you a way to unravel this a little bit. A better way to pose this question might be, or a different question to ask might be, what is your past outside of your perception of it from where you are right now? I know that's a thinker, but just think about it for a second. What is your past outside of your perception of it, your perspective of it from where you are right now? Is there any other perspective, really, than where you are right now? And where you are right now only has to do with where you're deciding to place your focus, your attention, what you are observing, okay? So let's kind of unravel this a little bit. And if you guys want to go down the rabbit hole with me, welcome, because that's what I love to do, especially when I talk about time and timelines. You know, think about it this way. When we talk about time or timelines and kind of going down the rabbit hole of this stuff and thinking about what time means to us, especially in the 3D time matrix, is really where we are observing our reality now in this 3D time matrix. But we don't have to. We are putting a lot of value and meaning and identity on how we view or observe things in our reality based on this construct. And the 3D time matrix is really just a bubble or a sphere of perception. Think of it as like an egg of perception inside the entire energy matrix of all that is. And that the 3D time matrix is just this small, very confined sphere of reference that we've all collectively agreed on in mass consciousness, the collective of the human family, to use to create meaning, to create value, to create an identity, to define our lives, okay? So I just want to set that up, create the foundation here right away, okay? Rachel says driving but listening. Okay, well, I'm not going to put you in a trance-like state, Rachel, so you'll be okay. So can you change your past, okay? I just gave you a little kind of foundation to work with here, okay? So let's just go with that premise. Just play along with me, okay? So can you change your past? Let me help you unravel that by asking this in a different way. What is your past outside of your perception of it from where you are right now? From this foundation of agreeing, where we collectively agree on a mass level of experience based on being in this sphere, this confined sphere of reality called the 3D time matrix, okay? So here we are, we're within that. We're kind of disseminating this information within this construct. Think about what your past represents to you, okay? How you think about your past is really about your emotional record of it, meaning you are still holding some resonance of your past based on an emotion that you still feel about it. And it doesn't matter what event experience it is, you growing up and playing catch in the backyard with your dad, you having a traumatic experience as a youth, you having the experience of reaching certain milestones in your life. I grew up, I graduated, I went to college, I had my confirmation. We're all marking events, collectively agreeing upon defining our experience through the marking of time. Okay? So how you think about your past is really about, when we get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it's really about your emotional record of it. Meaning, you are holding a resonance of it right now, in this moment. Okay? It is continuing to have an emotional imprint on you in the now. Okay? I'm listening, but I'm with Grace, and everybody's driving, everybody's on their commute. I love it, okay? Chances are If you experienced an event in the past that was highly emotionally charged, okay, and we all have something in our past, or what we think of as our past, where it's highly emotionally charged, okay? Anytime you feel something close to that emotion now, anything close to that emotion, meaning something that's within that bandwidth, that frequency of similar emotional resonance, okay, you are brought right back to that moment where you experienced an event. Let's just say that experience, that event in your past that had a highly emotionally charged experience for you. Chances are, if you feel anything close to that emotion, it'll bring you right back to that event as if it's happening right now, right? Who's had that experience? Who's having that experience like on the regular, okay? We all can relate with that, right? You're brought back to that moment, that highly charged event where the similar emotion first occurred, okay? Anytime you're having an emotional experience that's even close to this, it's in that bandwidth, let's just say, of energy. So in your present experience, your now, you could say that you are still exploring the trigger of this emotion, okay? Otherwise, you wouldn't have the experience of like going right back to the event as if it's happening right now in your present, okay? So in other words, you're not done with it. If it has the same emotional charge to it, the same trigger to it, you're not done with this, whatever it is. Maybe there's a lesson there. There's some polarity or duality that you're exploring still. There's something in it for you. Your soul level of experience is like Magellan. You are an explorer. You are a searcher. You are a seeker. That's part of the soul level of experience, especially down here on planet Earth, because this is all about a place of exploration. It's a giant playground for experiencing the whole spectrum of experience that this Earth plane has to offer us. Okay, we're here to explore polarity and duality here. That is largely what the 3D dimensional experience is all about. Okay, hi Sarah. So if that trigger is still there, if that emotion still has this charge for you, you're not done with it. There's some polarity, duality, you're still exploring. You're trying to decide between some lesson that hasn't been integrated yet. If this has the same emotional charge, this thing in your past, as if it happened just a second ago. You guys getting me so far? You feel this emotion or anything in this particular bandwidth of energy just as strongly as you did yesterday or last year or 10 years ago. Your mind can be easily fooled, okay? Your body, not so much. Your mind can be easily fooled. And you can take yourself right back to this experience as if it's happening right now, maybe, okay? But it could have been 10 years ago that it happened. You could have been 5 years old, okay? Could have been in your early 20s, and you're 50 now, okay? The emotional resonance for you still holds just as strong, and it creates an imprint and kind of a veil on your whole experience. If you feel this just as strongly as you did, 10 years ago, last year, whatever, in other words, your past is your present. It is your now just as much or in as much as it is still holding emotional resonance for you, okay? So then we get into this kind of sticky area of, okay, well then, what is the past and what is the future? Well, nothing. If it isn't you turning your observation, your focus, your attention, your energy, and funding that moment that you experience or think of as your past, if you're funding that moment now, as far as your mind, your body is concerned, it's your present. And in truth, all that the past or the future is are just different perspectives or vantage points of where you are focusing your attention in the now. In a sense, there is no past or future. There are just different now moments of experience where you happen to be turning your attention, funding your energy. Okay? The strong resonance or memory of something you experienced as your past is staying strong because of your ability to fund it, to invest in it with your observation, your attention, the sustained emotional reaction to it. Okay? This means to your body, it's taking all the cues that like, hey, this shit is happening now. Okay, you guys getting me? The past is just really a point of perspective in your now. rather than a point in the continuum of time, okay? So the memory of the past also stays strong when you are continuing to explore all of the choices you could have made, should have made, would have made, the things you might have done in that experience of your past, that event. We keep our past alive and well and very much in the present when we are continuing to ask questions about, well, what if I had done this? Or what if I had done that? And we are explorers. Remember the Magellan reference? Essentially, we're opening up other timelines and sailing on the sea of time by exploring all the other things, all the other variables, all the other permutations of how it could have gone, all the other potentials of how it could have been. Are you guys still with me? This is fun. We're having fun here. I'm trying to keep this light. But yes, we're going deep. We're going down the rabbit hole here. But just stay with me, okay? Just take a breath. And sometimes when you hear this stuff, you want to go out of your body. That's natural, okay? So just take a breath and bring yourself back into the heart, okay? And try to listen from here instead of here or here, okay? So you are creating then many offshoot timelines when you do this, when you're exploring, when you're playing Magellan, where you are funding different versions of yourself, essentially, by creating these other timelines, pursuing all the other choices that you did not make, okay? All those other choices you created in your mind, okay? These are actual timelines. And there is that soul experience that you wanted here when you came here. There's a part of your soul exploring those other timelines. So you're investing in funding the past. Guess what kind of impact that's going to have on your present? That emotional resonance is just going to feel that much stronger, right? It keeps that event alive and well in the present, okay? What you are doing, dear ones, when you're doing this is siphoning off precious creative energy of your now, where you are wanting to pursue, I like to call it the God choices. Those choices that you are actively making, those decisions you are actively making that are aligning you with your highest and best good and for the good of all in this lifetime. Those are your God choices. We all have opportunities to make God choices in every single second of our day. Becky says, yep, and you continually revisit your past, especially if something traumatic, you relive it quite literally. Yeah. Your body doesn't know any different, right? Your body and your mind, it's more your mind than anything. I can't click on this. Why not? But I want to see your full comment there, Becky. Let's see what it says. You relive it quite literally according to your body. Yeah, because you're having that emotional resonance. It doesn't know any different that was 10 years ago or that's now. If you feel it, it's real and it's now, it's here. And it is where you are funding your energy because you're observing it, okay? So, in other words, your past is your present. It is your now in as much as it is still holding profound emotional resonance for you, okay? This is just one way of beginning to understand or kind of wrap our heads around the fact that there is no past and there is no future, okay? There's only now moments existing simultaneously, okay? Your past is just a now moment where you are continuing to explore and invest in the emotional imprint of choices that you are still making. And anytime you decide, I want to revisit this past thing, it might have sucked, but what if I did it this way? You are revisiting that in the now, which makes it a now moment, which it's not the past or even perceiving it as the past anymore because you are funding your energy. And anytime you fund your energy into something actively with your body and mind, that is your now, okay? There are only now moments existing simultaneously. Your past is just a now moment where you are continuing to explore and invest in the emotional imprint of choices that you are still making. The strong resonance or the memory of something that you experienced as your past is staying strong because of your ability to fund it with your observation, your attention, your sustained emotional reaction to it, okay? The past is just really a point of perspective in your now rather than a point in the continuum of time. I wanted to say that again because I really want you guys to understand this, okay? And when you understand that, you realize how malleable, how flexible, how alchemical the nature of time in the 3D time matrix is, because humans create time in 3D. It is our tool of energy that we wield, okay? Based on our emotional reactions to events and experiences, okay? I did a whole live about this. I'll put the link down in here if you guys want to check that out. So when you are creating all these timelines, these offshoots of I could have done that, I should have done that, I would have done that, what if this happened, you know, what if this person came in, or what if this person hadn't been there, right? We do this all the time. We do it ad nauseum. We do it to the point where we drive ourselves almost fucking nuts, right? You guys with me? Sorry to be so sweary. And we're exploring all those different ways, let's just say, where we could have made the God choice, or we made other choices, but we're exploring. We're checking it all out. So we are creating an emotional investment in our now that is really profound, and it has an emotional resonance that creates so much of, let's just say, opportunities, so many opportunities for us to have our creative energy in the now siphoned off towards something that the only way we can really change is to change our emotional reaction to it. Because you can't change the event, but you can always change your perception of it in the now. So now we're getting somewhere in this rabbit hole, okay? So how do you begin to clean this up? How do you collapse, let's just say, those past timelines, quote unquote, that you're still exploring in the now by coulda, shoulda, woulda energy, that keep you exploring the polarity. Anytime you're exploring choices, you are exploring polarity. That's what we're here on earth to do. You're exploring duality, okay? But how do you stop that or slow it down, or at least stop that constant, incessant branching off of all these different polarities that you're exploring, and then shift to fund or concentrate your energy in the now, where you are pursuing your God choices, okay? With the set of circumstances, events, situations that are presenting themselves to you right here and right now, okay? One way we trick ourselves is thinking that we can change our past by the way that we think about it, and that is true to a certain degree. But it's not about just how you're thinking about it. It's about your emotional response to it that is everything. And it will keep perpetuating loop cycles of time, what will feel like karmic contracts that aren't complete, lessons that haven't been downloaded, integrated into our timeline of the now. This keeps us exploring. This keeps us siphoning off our energy towards something that's really not for our highest and best good anymore. Because those choices have already come to pass, in a sense, okay? So how do you clean this up? And how do you then shift or concentrate your energy in the now when you're pursuing your God choices? Obviously, one choice is to get into and to join the Timelines Expanded Masterclass, because it's 25% off until tomorrow. And the next live round, you'll get in that for free. Even when I'm adding 2 more modules in January, you won't pay a dime extra. That's one way. Because when we have the live experience together, and we do this group energy together, it changes everything. It shifts everything very, very quickly, okay? But another way is to sit yourself down, okay? Sit yourself down and write down all the ways that you are fragmenting your energy by thinking about a past event that is still highly charged for you emotionally, okay? Just write it down, explore it. All that stuff that's been existing in mental matter in the 4th dimension, get it down into the 2nd dimension and write it down on paper. Because when you do that, when you take something out of one-dimensional reality and shift it anytime, whether you're going down, ascending dimensions or descending dimensions, anytime you are making a dimensional shift, you are stretching your consciousness. This is a good thing. Because this is when new ideas, new levels of creativity, new potentials expand within your field of awareness. This is always a good thing. But anytime you go through a dimensional shift, like When you're having all of these thoughts about how things coulda, shoulda, woulda been, and taking that out of the mental matter of the fourth dimension and putting it into the second dimension by writing it down on a piece of paper, you're creating a dimensional shift. So polarities start to resolve themselves right away. Certain timelines will start to collapse right away simply by observing it from a different dimensional perspective. Okay? Event or person from the past, does that matter? No. Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't. If you aren't thinking about a specific event, it doesn't matter. It can be a person from your past. You are not messing with their free will, by the way, when you do that. You are only changing your experience of that event with that person. You happen to be sharing their energy with them. This will ripple out to them into their level of consciousness, but you will not be changing their free will choices. That's an important distinction, okay? So write all that stuff down. You're making a dimensional shift. You're starting to clear and collapse timelines right away by doing that and having the observation of it in the now, written in second dimension, taking it out of the fourth dimension. You're going through a dimensional shift. You're stretching your consciousness. You are playing with the fabric of time already. So where you're fragmenting your consciousness in that way, anything that's still highly charged for you emotionally about how the event would have, could have been different, whatever, write it all down. However you wanted it to play out differently. Let your fantasy world go wild here, okay? Get it down on paper. Look at what you've written and then say out loud, I am unhooking from any and all timelines where I have already explored or am continuing to explore polarity and duality around blank, whatever that is. That experience, Becky says, with that person, the event, the situation, the experience, where you originally generated that emotional imprint through the feelings that you had, the emotional response, okay? You can write that down too. It's helpful to write it down because then you'll remember it. And then you can write it down for any situation you feel like you're mulling over too much in the fourth dimension, in the mental matter of mind, where it hasn't taken form in the second dimension. When you write it down, you are already shifting your consciousness. And then say, I'm so grateful for where I am and for making the God choice in all events and experiences now. This creates another dimensional shift. This is where your higher self, and I do recommend when you do this exercise to be in the perspective of your higher self. Just call your higher self forth. I do it very easily. I just say higher self, higher self, higher self, and then boom. I imagine myself getting into that vantage point, that perspective, okay? Whatever you do to put yourself in that place, I highly recommend you do that. Because your higher self is really the Magellan here, is really the navigator. It's the one holding the compass that allows you to navigate interdimensionally. Your higher self, your higher 5D avatar, let's just say, is helping you bridge that gap in your consciousness in the 3D time matrix to help you opt into the 5D time matrix, okay? So anytime you're working at the perspective or the vantage point of your higher self, not only do you kind of resist the urge to want to go out of your body because the ego's not in charge, the higher self is, and the higher self already knows all this stuff. So you feel safer, you feel protected. The ego has no purview here. The ego has no domain here because the ego can only give you information about what is known. The ego is not the one playing around in 5D time matrix and realities, okay, or dimensional realities beyond 3D. The domain of the ego is 3D, okay? So it's not like you're trying to squash the ego down here. You're just saying, hey, ego, just sit back and just enjoy the ride for a little bit. Me and the higher self are going to do this fun thing, and then you can join in later, okay? It's never about suppressing the ego. It's never about, telling the ego that it doesn't have any business do anything, although in this particular experience, the ego doesn't have any business giving any say on what's going on here because it just doesn't know. But you can just say to your ego, hey, just relax. We don't have to go out of the body here. We're safe. Me and my higher self, we got this, okay? Make sure you say, I am so grateful for where I am now and that I've made and I am making the God choice in all events and experiences now. So essentially what you're doing is two things by having that statement. It's a statement of closure, which states that all of those other things that you explored, let's just say, and it's really just a perspective shift, those weren't the God choices. The choice that you made to get you to your now was your God choice, and you're glad that you made that. You're glad that you made that. And anytime you are anchoring into appreciation and gratitude for that, not only are you anchoring into your higher self, but you're also moving into that higher consciousness perspective of the 5D time matrix. And anytime you're holding appreciation, gratitude for something, you're setting forth the same energetic broadcast that says, hey, this already happened, right? If you are sitting down and you are a family, let's just say, that says grace at a meal, that's you saying, hey, this bounty has already been prepared and we're about to eat it and receive all the grace and the blessings of this beautiful food to nourish our bodies. Saying grace is an act of gratitude, appreciation, isn't it? It's the same kind of thing when you're playing with timelines. You're grateful for the choices that you have made, the God choices that you have made that brought you right here. So you could have this awareness of the now. So you could fund and invest all of your energy in the now. You stop siphoning off energy to all these timelines where you're investing in the polarities you're exploring. You're bringing all fragmented pieces, threads of your consciousness back into the now, into wholeness, which is the only real place that we make our best informed God choices anyway. So you'll notice a shift at first in your perception of the present. A lot of you, when you do this, depending on how much energy you've been funding or investing in these other timelines you're exploring, some of you will feel like a little blip. You ever see the movie The Matrix when there's that part where Neo is looking at the cat and the cat takes a couple steps forward and then moves backward and then moves forward again? Some of you might experience that like a blip in the Matrix, because that's exactly what's happening. You are changing the fabric of time. It's like the equivalent of picking up a comforter on your bed and giving it a good shake. It's kind of what you're doing to the fabric of time. It's very malleable. It's very flexible. It's alchemical in nature, and we have the power to imprint on the fabric of time anything that we wish. The problem is, and the suffering and the misery is happening, is because we don't think we have the power to do that. You absolutely do. The time matrix of 3D works for us because we are 3D. We wield energy here. Energy works for us in 3D. We forget that. We forget our power. Okay? Playing with time is a really empowering way to understand how much sovereignty you have in this dimensional reality. How much ability you have to create the nature and reshape the entire fabric of your reality. Okay? That's why I love teaching about time and timelines. This is only one way to work with time. It's powerful and empowering, but it is only one way to work with time. You can merge and stretch and quantum jump timelines. It will change your life. It changes your perception. That's why. And what is your life except your perception of it? What is your past except your perception of it from where you are in this now moment? Okay? So you'll notice a shift in your perception when you start doing stuff like this. Probably you'll have a few bouts of deja vu. That's another topic for another post. And in fact, I do have another talk about deja vu and what's really going on when we have deja vu. But you'll be gifted with many more opportunities. This is the real upshot. This is the benefit, okay, of playing with time. You'll become aware of many more opportunities to make the God choice. When those familiar emotions, let's just say, start to creep up that triggered you before, because they created the driving force of how you experienced you via the lens you had, or behind the veil of this lens of your past. Okay, this is all going to shift. It's all going to change. That perception gets blown wide open. Okay? And so you'll have more awareness when you anytime you make that dimensional shift and you blow your perception open by stretching your consciousness in this way and kind of playing interdimensionally, you bring a lot more awareness into your field of what is happening in the now. You're not numbed out anymore from a lot of stuff happening because you're not siphoning off your energy in million different directions, because you're not exploring as much polarity and duality as you have before. And when you are in the moment of being present with all aspects of self, working towards a singular goal or perspective in the now, and you stop siphoning off all of your energy to explore polarity and duality, you get to see what's happening in your now in starker contrast, in higher relief. Things become very obvious to you about what's going on. And only in this place do you get to really decide, with all parts and pieces of you operating in the now towards the singular perspective, what the God choice really is. So yes, you're working with a greater level of clarity. Yes, you're working with more opportunities that you were behind the veil of a certain perception before that you just couldn't see. In other words, the emotional imprint and memory of your past, or what you think of as the past, it fades and dissolves because your energy is no longer funding it. You have changed your past, in a sense, okay? Because you've changed your complete perception and relationship to it. So in fact, and this is going to blow your mind a little bit, but it's something to kind of chew on and ask your higher self. Don't take my word for it. Ask your higher self, play with this stuff, figure it out for yourself. In fact, don't take my word for any of this, but employ these practices. Take these tools and run with them and play with them on your own, and then decide. Don't just take this at face value. Don't take my word for it. In fact, please don't. Play and have fun. See for yourself. See for yourself. So this is going to blow your mind a little bit. So what I just said about the emotional imprint and the memory of your past fades the more you do this kind of work. And it dissolves because your energy is no longer funding it, off in a million directions, exploring the polarity of what could have been. You have changed your past by changing your perception and your relationship to what you experienced or are experiencing as your past. And in fact, there are many things you don't remember from your past simply because you've made God choices time and time again, over and over again, that have made the lesson of that experience of your past complete. So there's no part of your higher self that's saying we need to keep exploring this. And so the memory of it has faded so much, you don't even have a memory of it. Yeah. So how do you feel, this knowledge can help you? How can you see yourself playing with this? Maybe there's something you have been, mulling over incessantly right now. It's kind of taking over your life because it's funding, or you're funding, I should say, so much of your energy towards this thing that you can't really change, but you can. But we're trying to change it in a way that it can't be changed. So this is the 3D to 5D jump in consciousness, is knowing a tool like this. Not only are you working with 5D technology, essentially, to change your reality in 3D, you're making a dimension shift. You are working interdimensionally, in fact. So your consciousness is stretching. Your awareness is evolving and expanding. And you are learning how to work with time in a really flexible and plastic kind of way that you didn't even think was possible before, so you can receive benefits in the now. So you see, time is really just a tool. And what is a tool really? A tool is really just an extension of our human ability that allows us to receive benefits that can be practically or tangibly applied in our everyday life, right? That's just basically a quick and dirty definition of a tool. Time is that. And it's not that we've been using time wrong, but we haven't been using it very efficiently. So making that leap from 3D to 5D, where you learn how to use time as a tool in this way, will blow your perception of your entire reality wide open. So if you love this, if this is just like, ooh, I got the tingles, like big time, there's a reason, because you're ready to go deeper with this. And so that's exactly why I teach Timelines Expanded. It is on sale, 25% off in my member vault, so you have lifetime access to it, so you can take the classes on your own time. There's a Facebook group of additional guidance and support for this 5-part masterclass series. When you join now, basically you're joining now and getting 25% off until tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So the cost is $175. You'll be invited to come in, you'll be grandfathered in to come into the next live course that I'm teaching in January, where there's going to be 7 modules instead of 5, because we're going to be talking about culminating timelines, changing your past, and false timelines, and how to opt out of false timelines. Learn all about what false timelines are. So there is no one else teaching anything like this. I can say this in full confidence. I have no cockiness or ego about it. I know this because I looked for a course like this, because my intrigue and fascination with timelines was through the roof, and I was like, there's got to be somebody teaching about this stuff and talking about this stuff, and not in just a conceptual way. The way I'm sharing this material is just like right here. You know, I'm giving you the concept, the conceptual foundation of it, but I'm giving you a tool to practice and play with this and figure this all out for yourself, how you feel about playing with time. That's how we need to be able to teach this material, and that is how I teach this material and share it with you. It's fascinating and it's fun, and the people who have been in the first round of it have been still receiving benefits of being able to play with time in this way. So if this turns you on and gets you all in the feels, you're going to want to get in this. Get in while the discount is still there. Get in while you can still be grandfathered in and get the live course in January at no extra cost to you. Until I announce that time of the course, whenever you join, even if you can't get in and get the discount, if you join before I officially announce the next live round of Timelines Expanded, you'll still be grandfathered in. But it won't be much longer. I'm going to set the date for probably mid-January and pretty soon, and start enrolling people into that soon. And that's going to be $379 or more. I haven't decided fully yet, but it's going to be basically twice what the price is right now, which is still a bargain no matter what. So I hope this has helped you guys. I hope you guys play with this. And like I said, don't just take my word for this. Play with this, practice with this stuff, check it out. When I put the link here, you can actually check out the intro module of the Timelines Expanded class, where I talk about time and the alchemical nature of time and how humans create time in 3D. You can check that out for free. And then if you are inspired, come and join us and get in on this program. It's amazing. And we have an additional Facebook group support and guidance in our private community for the Timelines Expanded Masterclass. So thanks for watching, guys. So much love and light and peace to you guys.